Hello and welcome back to the Guys Like Us and the Guys Like Us podcast. If you're on YouTube, thanks for joining. This is an introduction to what we'll be doing for this coming summer, the Guys Like Us summer series. For those of you who have been tuning in for some time, this is a little bit of a change from what I've been doing. Though the bi-monthly episodes with different guests will continue. We thought that this is just really a great opportunity to dig a little bit deeper into some topics that have been mentioned on in the past. And so what we'll be doing this summer is including additional episodes that will focus on particular topics of interest and relevance. So over the past few years, we've had various guests on and they've shared their journeys, what they're currently up to in business, sports, writing, music, among so many other industries and professions. And that will continue. But we're going to really resurface some recent topics, maybe some older topics that need an extra little touch. And so the aim of the Guys Like Us has been to help people live as disciples of Christ, which means Mathetes in Greek and roughly translates to learner. And a learner is someone who listens, questions, and acts. Oftentimes at the end of these podcast episodes, I feel like I can just keep on going. And so this is an opportunity to parse some of that out a little bit more. And so what will this actually look like? So we are going to have some different dialogue partners and just some books that we're going to be bringing to the surface. Some guests that we've had on, some guests that we have not. But the focus is to look at some books in particular and to review some books. So we'll be looking at John Mark Comer, John Eldredge, John Ortberg. That's a lot of Johns already. I think we need no more Johns. I think we've hit our quota. Ian Morgan Cron, Dallas Willard, John Maxwell, Gary Thomas, and among others as well. And so, as you can tell or if you're familiar with these people in particular, definitely we'll be focusing on spiritual formation, discipleship, growth, really the kind of what the walk looks like in the day to day. We'll be thinking about marriage and dating, and also leadership. And so we have a lot of different topics that we'll be focusing on. And so, for those of you on YouTube, I'm sitting next to a good friend of mine, Andrew, who has not formally been introduced, but I would love to give just a warm welcome to Andrew for joining this podcast. He'll be on moving forward as well. And so Andrew is a pastor, a project manager, and just really an all-around enthusiast for helping people live into their God-given purpose. He is a Princeton graduate, and though he may be done with his formal schooling, he loves to learn and grow wherever he is. And then for those of you who don't know me too much, I live in the Boston area, and we're both coming to you from the Boston area. I'm working on my seminary degree from Boston University School of Theology. Been podcasting for several years now, and so I would encourage you to check out some of the older episodes if you're just tuning in. I love health and fitness. I used to play soccer at the college level and then overseas for a little bit. And now I'm continue to play soccer and coach, do the Guys Like Us podcast and so on. So Andrew, thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yes, sir. What is an opening question to really guide us into where we'll be going? What are you most looking forward to in this series? And then I guess part 2 of that is, what do you think listeners will appreciate in the episodes to come?
Yeah, I think in the series, I'm excited to just cruise through different components of our spiritual life and take a deep dive. Sometimes the practice of talking through something out loud reminds us of the components that are deep, right? We're going to be drilling deep and in conversations. I think sometimes in sermons, it's quick to get the delivered, already processed content. And what I hope to do in our conversations is do some mining and some digging and pulling out the diamonds and helping people walk along that process of going layer by layer and not in a way that's boring, but to think like on a real level. And I think what hopefully listeners will appreciate is we're going to ask the hard questions. We're going to think through the things that every random person on the street is probably thinking about when they think about spirituality and stuff that maybe people might be afraid to ask, but don't have the guts to, or maybe just have felt shame from the culture around them to ask. And so we're going to ask them. We're going to leave nothing everything is on the table. And I think that's the exciting thing when we think about these conversations. So hope you join us and come along for the ride and see how God uses his time.
Absolutely. Amen. And I think there's such a great window here that we're trying to really kind of look through, and I love conversation in this format, and I think this is just a great way, as you mentioned, to just kind of start to work out some things that we haven't fully formulated in our heads yet, but as we kind of process it, will help to kind of iron that out. And I think also what I'm really looking forward to is I think actually taking a step back and looking more at these books. Some of these books that I've read, some of them that I haven't fully really got into, but slowing down and taking time to really read through them. I think so often I'm, I read books and I completely forget what they're about. Days, weeks later.
Right here,
I know. So I'm hoping that this kind of pseudo book review format that we have going on will be just a way for us to soak in this information more. And right as we're doing this book review, I'm hopeful that other people will start to look at books a little bit differently as well, and take some more time reading through them. And I know that listeners will value maybe, even if it's just a few points in the conversation. We know that those can definitely spark a lot of deeper dives as well. So excited for this time. Thank you for joining us. If you've been part of the Guys Like Us community and part of the podcast for some time now, this will be a little change of pace. So I'm really excited to hear your feedback and what you enjoy about this. So please feel free to send me an email, tbrondyk, TBRONDYK @theguyslikeus.com. And that'll be in the show notes as well. But send me an email. Let me know how you are finding this podcast, and just this kind of this new step that we're taking, and where God's leading us. Thank you.